Russophile. I'm a loyal American, and I'm loyal to human life, and I'm against lies, and I'm against George Soros, who bragged on CNN 8 years ago that they overthrew the Ukrainian government and launched paramilitary attacks. I also have friends and family who, under orders, have been in Ukraine, literally shooting Russians and directing artillery for years. So I am against that. So is my family. They would be court-martialed if they didn't follow the orders, but they're definitely against it. So Vladimir Solovyov, thank you so much for joining us. He is the most famous journalist in Russia, a television and radio host, as well as a writer and public figure. He's the author of numerous documentaries such as The President and The World Order, films based on several exclusive interviews of Vladimir Putin. He has extensive experience in communication with prominent political, public, and military figures, as well as with top state officials. He's interviewed everybody, the president of Syria, the president of Russia, the Serbian president. He's interviewed Bush, he's interviewed the Japanese prime minister, everybody. And so he is at VRS, his name, Soloviev. I always pronounce it wrong. And you can find him on his website, SOLOVIEV.live. So thank you so much. I'm going to do my best to try to give you the floor. You speak good English, and I wish I could speak Russian, to hear what you have to say, because this is so incredibly important. So thank you so much, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you for inviting me. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of interviewing you. And unfortunately, our little prediction was absolutely right. We're living in hell, and we are on the verge of the nuclear war. The Third World War is unfortunately right here, right now. And we have to be absolutely clear. What's happening right now in Israel, in the Gaza sector, it's not just about the regional conflict. It's the end of the world as we know it. And not only because of the nuclear capabilities of the United States, missile capabilities of Iran, not because Pakistan can probably somehow get the nuke to Iranians and, you know, all those little scenarios that may happen. No, no, no. The truth was killed. Humanitarian values were killed. Of course, on the 7th of October, that's a terrible act of terror. Of course, 1,300 dead Jewish people just because they're Jewish were massacred. And that's absolutely unacceptable. That's the purest form of terror. But a few weeks after that, we count 2,400 dead kids of Palestine. And no one cares. America doesn't want to see it. They're saying, oh, okay, you know, what can we do? That's collateral damage. That is not collateral damage. Those are babies that were killed. And their life is important. Not only Black life matters, not only American life matters, not only Jewish life matters. Every life matters. But the world is saying that, okay, come on, we have to be honest. It's the time to end this question, finally. The final solution of the Arab question in Palestine. How can we, you know, after Hitler, how can anyone pronounce those words? When I see the president of Israel stating that the whole Palestinian nation is guilty, don't tell me that there are innocent civilians there. They all support Hamas. Come on. Babies? Pregnant women? Elderly? They have to suffer? In Russia, we've been facing awful terrorist attacks, but we never ever went all the way to kill every single human being in this village, every single human being in the city. That's why when Western propaganda, especially done by Boris Johnson's affiliates, starting this Bucha story, all Russians immediately said, that is lie. Russian soldier will never do that. We do not believe in collateral damage. We see humans. And every time when Russian is speaking about babies, we're quoting Dostoevsky. The cost of the tear of the baby. We don't want to see those people being killed. We want all the terrorists to be killed. That's for sure. Every single terrorist has to be killed, and it doesn't matter what kind of terrorist is he. Is he Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS? Doesn't matter what's his name. Ukrainian Nazi. Doesn't matter. They have zero right to live. But when we see innocent kids being killed, no. Never. Even during the Second World War, Berlin, Nazis decided to stop Russian tanks from using Berlin subway for getting there because it was really wide. And they put water into there.
Hitler flooded the subway and killed 500,000 Germans.
What did Russians do? We saved Germans. They killed 27 million Soviet people, and we saved them in Berlin. We didn't tell them, that's not our business. That's your problem. Go and die. Never.
But the
Russians
world has
will never
forgotten
do that.
World War II, but we're actually fighting the last war, and you raised it. The words of Israel, I'm not even against Israel, and you're Jewish, is literally, these are animals, we're going to kill them all. These are Hitler quotes.
I hate those words. I cannot imagine, not every single Jewish is Israeli. I cannot imagine how we can say those words about other nations. We who suffered during the Second World War because of genocide. What happened there, the Holocaust, it's the worst tragedy in the history of our people. And of course, October 7th is the worst episode since Holocaust. But we cannot behave the same way as they behaved against us. Never. That's not what humanity is about. The greatest Jewish philosopher, let's say, religious teacher, Rebbe, Gilel once quoted, "Don't do to others what you don't want to be done to yourself." We should not kill innocent kids. They should not suffer. They have right to live as human beings.
And so Israel is losing. They're losing
in prison.
I agree. Israel's losing the high ground. No one can deny it. What's going to happen? And then let's tie it into Ukraine and Zelensky and literal Nazis. What's happening there?
That's easy. First of all, look, whom are they blaming for Hamas? They're blaming Iran. Iran has nothing to do with Hamas. Iran is Hezbollah. Iran is Hezbollah, not Hamas. Hamas is supported by Turkey and Qatar. President of Turkey is stating, Hamas, they're not terrorists, they're freedom fighters, they're mujahideen. We do not consider them to be terrorists. They are Muslim brothers. The same political party that is ruling right now in Turkey, very close. During the war in Syria, Hamas was fighting against Assad army, against Hezbollah and Russian forces. And now when they're saying, oh, come on, we see behind Hamas, Russians and the Iranians, it's complete lie. Turkey, the NATO country, and Qatar, the place where the largest or one of the largest American military bases, they are behind Hamas. Americans have to know the truth. So if you want to blame anyone for this terrorist attack, look into the origin of Hamas and you'll find Turkey and Qatar. Then was using them for political reasons to fight Palestinian freedom organizations. And you'll find political forces inside Israel. For many years, they were using Hamas to break these Palestinian organizations in pieces. They gave them Gaza. They used them. Even Netanyahu had a few very weird statements about that, about supporting Hamas. Now they're saying every Hamas fighter have to be killed. Of course, but how? How can you do that? They were preparing for 2 years. What happened with almighty security services of Israel, United States, United Kingdom?
Well, Vladimir, that's my next point. Looks like a stand down to me. Let's talk about that. And let's pull back to 35,000 feet or 1 million feet. And what's the big picture and the distraction where they're going to give 100 billion more to Zelensky, 80 billion, 20 billion to Israel. What's the real reason for Biden giving all this?
The real reason is Biden is losing the war in Ukraine. Money that will go there I don't think that they will go directly to Ukraine. It's absolutely corrupted country. Most part of this money gonna be divided between Biden, clan, and others. Most part of this money won't even leave United States of America. So right now, Biden administration, they need to find a little war to win. The easiest way is to win this
Exactly.
war
They're
in
losing
Israel.
in Ukraine, so this is the distraction.
Right, so they will say, okay, Ukraine, not our fault, they're corrupted. By the way, they're Nazis. Let's Europe handle that. But we, great America, will fight Middle East. We'll bring you oil, we'll get you peace there. We'll protect Israel and we'll destroy Iran because they can try to use nuclear weapon against Iran because Iran doesn't have nuclear
So this
ability
is, stop there,
to
you're right.
retaliate.
This is World War III. So this is the insane Western BlackRock establishment failing everywhere. So like Hitler losing against England, and in North Africa, he goes against Russia. They're doubling down. I think World War III has already begun. The question is, Vladimir, will it become nuclear?
Of course, it has to become nuclear because America cannot use nuclear weapon against Russia. Today we showed what we can do with nuclear weapon. Now, we tested our triad, and that was very impressive, very impressive. But Iran doesn't have nuclear weapon. So America will try to use Israel's nuclear weapon, as I see it, against Iran, stating that's the only way to stop Iranian proxies to fight Israel. And here you have nuclear war coming on. What happens next? China will say we don't like that. But Russians, we calculated this ability. That's why Putin said, okay, guys, you want to play tough? We will play tough. That's why we have our supersonic missiles all the way up on our jets in the Black Sea. And
Yeah, so they've loaded, that was my next question. They've loaded the Kinzhal missiles in the Black Sea, 100 miles away from the aircraft carriers. And Putin said it's not a threat, it's a message from the Russian Air Force. What does that signify?
That message says that we can destroy whatever aircraft carrier you have in Mediterranean. We don't care what you have there. We can destroy them. That's what Kinzhals are for. And we're saying that if you're willing to use your nuclear abilities, or if you're willing to use your fighters against Iran or unwisely, please think twice. We don't want this war to happen, but if we have to step in, we have all the abilities to do that. That's not what we're willing to do. We won't start. That's not in our military concept, but we will retaliate if we feel that is far too dangerous, vitally dangerous for Mother Russia.
So, Vladimir, describe to us from the Russian perspective where the world is right now, because the International Atomic Science Association says we're the closest to midnight nuclear war we've ever been. Do you agree with that, and what can we do to stop it?
I agree with that, because when I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but Tucker Carlson spoke with this great Connell guy, and they were saying that in the last 24 hours there was a massacre in Gaza Street, when Israeli special op forces and American forces were massacred there when they were trying to do some kind of stuff. That's a bad news. You want to get into Gaza? There are 35,000 Hamas terrorists there. They've been for 2 years preparing for this war. So what should be done by Israel? They will try to destroy it. And then Hezbollah from the north will start participating. And those guys, Hezbollah guys, they're much tougher fighter than Hamas. They've been fighting for 12 years non-stop. They are very, very qualified fighters, and that will be a problem. So Israeli would say, no, we won't tolerate that. And we'll have to use the weapon of the Judgment Day. And that will be the end of the world. Because they will try to hit Iran. Iran will use whatever capacities they have, and they have a lot of missiles and drones and all this stuff.
So we're very close
will
to
be
this
it.
kicking off. Vladimir, how do you see this unfolding?
How many Americans were killed in the last 24 hours? We don't know. We were told that 2 American bases in Syria were hit by someone. America never retaliated. We're told there are 20 plus wounded people. We don't know, are they wounded or they killed military personnel. For the first time, they think that it's okay to hit American bases. That's no good. That's a bad sign. That's a sign of weakness. Biden doesn't threaten anyone anymore. That's a very bad sign. Very bad sign for America. And it's awful sign for the whole world. I don't want Americans to be killed. I don't want Israelis to be killed. I don't want Palestinians to be killed. We have to stop it now. We have to sit down and we have to talk. And we have to find a reasonable conclusion that everyone will live with. In any other case, there will be no one to talk to.
Well, you're speaking to millions
That's
of...
how I see it, man.
I see it the same way. So let's talk about the Ukraine war that's been going on for a year and a half and the big offensive and where that is now. And Zelensky fired
Well,
missiles.
first of all, Ukraine offense is a joke. It's nowhere. They lost more than 100,000 people killed for no reason. They have world-famous German tanks that are burning like candles. They had the American missiles that are hitting nowhere. Well, they're hitting something, but it doesn't change the pace of war. They've been supplied with whatever they were asking for. Nothing. In the last 5 days, we had 24 airplanes. We put them down in the last 5 days. We can destroy them easily. But we're not fighting the way as Israelis in fighting in Gaza Strip. Look, we are not fighting the cruel war. That's why in Russia it's special military operation. We're not destroying cities. In Mariupol, we're saying, okay, guys, we'll stop. As a humanitarian passage, please leave. We're doing it all the time, every single time. While the Israelis are saying, we don't care much. We don't do that. We're fighting not Ukrainian people. We're fighting with Ukrainian Nazis and actually Nazis through all over the world that are getting there. We're continuing to fight the Second World War because we're fighting against this same mentality and the same ideology as our grandfathers used to fight. Bandera ideology is part of the German Nazi ideology. And they are heroes of modern Ukraine. That's whom we're fighting against. That's why 11 million Ukrainians decided to live with Russia. 11 million. In America, they don't know that. They're saying that, oh, we're very cruel against Ukrainians. No way. 3.5 million Ukrainian refugees left Ukraine for Russia, not for Germany. Plus 8 million Ukrainians decided to live on their land, and they voted this land to become back part of Mother Russia. We control enormous territory, but this is Russian territory, populated by people of different nationalities that are willing to get back to Mother Russia. Because for many centuries they lived as one state. It's their free choice. It's not about territory, it's about the willingness of people to live together. They consider themselves to be part of Russian culture.
That's right.
Russian
Vladimir
mentality.
Solyov is our guest here. We've got another half hour left. We go to break in about a minute and a half. But bigger picture, if Russians were on the Mexico or Canadian border with troops and attacking, I would be against Russia. But the truth is, our insane elite, just like when the Germans in 1943 tried to stop Hitler, that would have been better. It's not the American people, but our country has been hijacked. And I'm really concerned about, obviously, this kicking off the Middle East. The weakness of Biden has encouraged Iran and encouraged China and encouraged all these other groups to move into the void. And I think everybody's walking into a trap.
Absolutely right. And this trap is awful. United States of America used to be the most beloved country in Russia through all 90s and the beginnings of 2000s. What happened? why Americans decided to destroy Russia and to humiliate Russian people. We didn't deserve that. Never. We have nothing against Americans. We just want them to be happy in America. We just don't want them to support Ukrainian Nazis. That's so easy. And it's surprisingly hard to understand to people like Biden, who has zero knowledge of Russian and Ukrainian history. What he's saying is just, it's awful. It looks like he never, ever.
All right,
spent
Vladimir,
2
stay right
minutes
there. We'll come
reading
back
through
and
the
talk.
notes.
We got to go to break. We'll be right back. Normally, Christmas is our biggest sale of the year, but because of supply chain breakdowns and other issues, this is our biggest sale because finally almost all of our best-selling products are finally back in stock, including sold out for more than a year, X2, the only true nascent iodine out there, is finally back. What it does for your immune system, your body, all your cells is miraculous. It's discounted at InfoWarsStore.com. Double Patriot points, free shipping, biggest sale hands down of 2023. I'm sure Christmas will have a big sale, but we'll be sold out of most of this. So Christmas has come early, Black Friday's come early, and it funds the InfoWar. Get X2, get Vaso Beats back in stock. Get all the other great products at InfoWarsStore.com right now. But again, our fan favorite, my favorite, is X2. Sold out for over a year. Could be our last run if we're shut down. Get it while you can. X2, discounted at InfoWarsStore.com.
Your products have changed my life. Your Brain Force and all that make me better. They make me more focused. They make me feel better. A lot of lingering effects from when I was getting sober have now relieved me. My girlfriend goes to the gym and goes hard. She's on the turmeric and the same stuff. These products will change your life. They fund one of the greatest things out there right now for us as free Americans. Please do these people a favor. Go to their store, support them, do what you need to do, because if we lose InfoWars, we lose a lot more than what people are willing to believe. If you want to really get in shape for this thing about to come, get the HGH and get that testosterone boost, man, get in the gym, because I'm in the best shape of my life because of your products, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to not lose the greatest symbol against tyranny the world has ever seen, and that's our American flag. And with that, I appreciate, love InfoWars. I'll listen to you the day I die or you go off air, but I'm going to do my part to make sure you don't. Have a great day.
Sleepless nights seem to be a lot more common these days with everything that's going on both at home and the world at large. If you are having trouble getting to that deep sleep we could all use more of, our new sleep support formula, Down and Out, is just the thing. It's our new, faster absorbing liquid formula that is specifically designed to help you get the shut-eye you deserve. Formulated to improve upon our best-selling product, Knockout, with Down and Out, now the herbs and melatonin packed inside are extracted directly into the glycerin solution. So the ingredients are already dissolved into the formula before you even take it. One of the other sleep support herbs included is the passion flower, which was traditionally used by Native Americans like the Cherokees, who used it for its relaxing qualities. Be sure to take this product when you are completely ready for sleep, because you will be down and out. Selling out now at InfoWarsStore.com.
First came Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Super Mario Brothers. And now the ultimate retro nostalgia throwback game. I present to the world Alex Jones's New World Order Wars. They're turning the friggin' frogs game. I'll eat your ass, you Nazi scum. Let's free the Patriots and defeat the globalist tech geeks.
We are going to defeat the globalists very bigly.
This game is mostly peaceful.
I'm going to lower the world's population.
Oh, big deal. I'm taking you down, rapist.
I did not have sexual relations with that saxophone.
Download it now at AlexJonesGame.com, because as we all know, anything badass gets censored.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.
Vladimir Zilyov is our guest. find him on Twitter at PRSOLOVI.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
Yeah, so I think people all over the world, whether you're listening in Europe or Latin America or Asia or the Middle East, Russia, it doesn't matter, Canada, you have a right to an adult discussion. So you should hear from the top talk show host in Russia about where they stand and what's going on and what's happening. Everything we've been told about Ukraine's a lie. The big banks are trying to hide the implosion of the economy there. Now they've moved on to this crisis in the Middle East. This is such an incredible moment to be alive. And people will say, hey, you're going to get debanked, which happened when I was on a show a month ago. Another bank dropped us. You're going to get death threatened. You're going to get attacked for having this guy on. But if you actually listen to what he said, it all makes sense and it's true. So, justice be done, may the heavens fall. That's where we are, because we're trying to stop nuclear war. And look at our government. It hates Americans. It teaches us that conservatives and Christians are the enemy. It literally teaches us that we need to chop our children's genitals off. And Vladimir Putin says no. Vladimir Putin says no to funding ISIS in Syria. And so I'm not here as a Putin apologist. I'm not here as a Putin booster. I'm here saying that our government's out of control and it's going to destroy us all. So, Vladimir, we've got 25 minutes till this hour ends, till the show ends. Come back anytime with us, but please continue with key points you want to point out, what's happening in Russia, what you think is going to come next, and how you think we come together with any plans to try to derail Armageddon.
Now, a long time ago, I spoke with one of the American guys, a really nice, very smart fellow, who told me, come on, Vladimir, you know, Russia used to be empire of evil. You're still evil, but you're no longer empire. Both statements actually are wrong. We're still empire, and we're a very different empire. We are the one that always supported other nations and always willing them to prosperous. And we're definitely not evil. We're with God. We believe in God, and that's so easy. That's why I usually say that God with us. And if God with us, who is against us? That's the question that we're asking. What values are trying, what values nowadays are in America? I used to know America, and that was a completely different country. That was the country that we fought shoulder to shoulder as allies. We both believed in God. We believed in human life. We believed that there's right and there's wrong. And nowadays, what are you fighting for? Whom are you supporting in Ukraine? Freedom? No way, there is no freedom. There's little guy Zelensky who decided to ban Orthodox Church. This little guy the same day is voting for homosexual marriages and banning Orthodox Church. Is it coincidence? I don't think so. He is the guy that basically banned whomever political party were against him. You call it democracy? People have been killed in Russia by his direct order. And those people were not generals. Nice lady, 30 years old. Her guilt was that she is a daughter, or was a daughter, of one of the prominent Russian philosophers, Mr. Dugin. Ukrainian special forces, with the help of CIA, killed her. And now here's an article in one of the American newspapers, I think it was Washington Post, stating that, yes, we trained the Ukrainian Nazis to kill Russian civilians through all over the country. That is terror. We're not doing that. We're not killing Ukrainian political leaders. We're not aiming to kill anyone in America. But Hillary Clinton lied about Russian conspiracy. Everyone knows that. There were no Russian hackers that decided to interfere with American elections. Why do we care? At the same time, Americans are spending an enormous amount of taxpayers' money to get whatever government they want to, either in Ukraine or other countries. Why? What it gives you? You're spending hundreds of billions of dollars for absolutely corrupted government in Ukraine. They're stealing your money and then they're selling whatever you give them in weapon to Hamas to kill Israelis.
So Vladimir, let me ask you, Vladimir, let me ask you this question.
Internet.
Let me ask you this question. Currently, how do you see this going on the current trajectory? How do you see this unfolding?
We're
Because
fighting the war. We're fighting the war, you know, and Russia is living normal life. Our economy is growing faster than the economy of every single European country. People are not dying from starvation. Life in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, in Kazan, and other places, well, it's really nice living. If you look at the new territories like Donbass, the roads are great. We're building new houses. Mariupol, we're helping people. Business is booming. It's not like everyone is happy. No, it's economy. But we're definitely moving forward. At the same time, every single day, 1,300 Russian men are signing for Russian military as volunteers to fight Ukrainian Nazis.
in fact,
At
I
the
was
same
reading
time,
Russia doesn't need conscription, the draft
We
like
don't
Ukraine.
use subscription to fight this war. We don't use subscription to fight this war. Those guys that are serving, young kids, 18 years old, 19 years old, they're not involved in the military activity on the new territories, as we call them. They don't participate in the fight. People that are fighting are the ones that signed the contract. They're grown-ups, they know what they're fighting for, and they're very professional guys. The way we fight, 5 to 6 days on the front line, a couple of days rest, and then we train for another 2 or 3 weeks, and then get back to the front line. Right now we have the best military in the world because every single day we're learning. Our military industrial complex is working day and night. Our engineers, and they're great engineers. We're coming up with new solutions, new ideas. That's why we produce more than the whole NATO manufacturing capabilities can
Well,
do.
let's expand on that. The truth is Russia is fighting the entire NATO operation and getting stronger. Because Russia didn't do too well when they first went in. NATO was ready with all the weapons. But now, so what does NATO do now that NATO's losing?
NATO trained us. NATO gave us basically the meaning. Because our military industrial complex, we thought we won't need it, and maybe, strategic nuclear weapon, okay, but, traditional weapon, maybe that's not the time. Nowadays, come on, forget it.
So it's just like it's like the learning curve with Hitler invades.
Everything.
Just interrupt, sorry. Sorry, we're talking over each other, I apologize. Just like Russia was not ready in 43 with Barbarossa, when Hitler invaded, he looked like he was winning, but the Russians scaled up very quickly. Is that what you're saying?
We started with, the initial idea was very easy. We never ever claimed that we're planning to conquer Ukraine. We don't care, we don't need territory, we have plenty of territory. We're the largest country in the world. We don't need more territory. That was about our security. We were saying little things. We were saying, please stop killing people of Donetsk. Week before we started special military operation, they started bombarding Donetsk enormously. Heavy losses. People had to flee their houses. They were destroyed. For 8 years, there were 15,000 Russians were killed during 8 years of war, of this proxy war. That's an enormous amount of people being killed. What happened then? We started police operation. We never were planning to conquer Kiev. Never, ever. We came there, we started negotiations. We're saying, please, get back to terms. Your country got independence on the terms that you will be never, ever part of any military bloc. And now you're trying to become part of NATO. But it's a threat to us.
So,
We
Vladimir,
cannot-
now it's happened from the Russian perspective, which Americans deserve and others deserve to hear. This is going to be a super viral interview. It's live right now with millions of viewers. You're a smart guy. You don't like to speculate. What comes next? NATO and the globalists are losing. They've started a new war as a distraction. But what do you expect them to do next? Because they're not going to give up.
They will give up. They cannot afford not to give up. That's the problem. They have nothing to fight us with. Because nowadays they're given whatever. There is no Wunderwaffe. There's no weapon that can change the way things are going. Because nowadays Ukrainians are not willing to fight. They fled their own country. Millions of Ukrainians decided to leave Ukraine. They don't want to fight for the motherland. Because they know that their cause is not right. They know that we're not planning to conquer Ukraine, and we never did. And whatever Biden blessing, we managed to get the Russians out of Kiev, and we freed, half Istanbul. We already had peace agreement with Ukrainians, and even they signed the initial accord of this agreement. And as a free will, we told them, okay, we'll withdraw our troops from Kiev and northern part of Ukraine. And that's what we did. And now they're saying, that was a great battle. Really? What kind of battle?
No, I mean, no one can deny Russia's winning big time. So I ask you the question. I understand the globalists need to stop, but they don't stop. So I'm saying, what do you're a smart guy, what are they going to do next? Because they're madmen, and our borders are wide open. They're destroying us. We know the globalists are at war with all Christian nations.
Try to pretend that it's never happening. So they have two causes. First of all,
So they'll just move on to a Middle East war. You're saying this is the sign of victory because they're now segueing to the Middle East as the diversion.
Right. They'll go to Iran. What they will do in Ukraine, they'll try to catch your attention. They'll try to make up yet another Bucha. Many times I spoke to Italian, French, German, and other journalists. I told them, tell me what happened in Bucha. Names of the victims, where they were killed, weapon of the crime. Show me the result. Zero knowledge. Why? Because those poor people, they were Russian supporters, and they were killed by Botsman. That's the name of the local mafia Nazi Ukrainian guy who killed those people in Bucha. And I think that behind this idea was one of the British image makers of Zelensky. And the West easily, with some weird joy, started, using this fake.
We only have about 12.
Nazi.
Vladimir?
Ukrainian. So what happens next? The war against Iran. That's almost inevitable. That's what's going to happen next. And Ukraine, they will say, none of our business. Like Afghanistan. Oh, they were, sorry guys, we gave you whatever you wanted, you're no good. Zelensky, no, that's not a nice guy. You know what, Zelensky, you're corrupted. So, you're also nothing. Come on, too bad. So goodbye, Mr. Zelensky. Get us some other guy, and he will try to sign a peace deal with Russia. And we'll say that, Ukrainians, we did what we could. But your Zelensky was the same guy as in Afghanistan. He was no good. Not our fault. And we'll go and save Israelis. Why? Well, because that's our job. To save the world. And now we're saving it. But in the other part. In Middle East.
No, I agree. They're going to
And that will be the war with Iran.
They're already segueing into the Middle East war, the Central Asian war. So let's talk about, from your research, how this war with Iran goes, and then they'll try to double back and bring that to Russia. And how does China play into this?
China hates that. China hates that because China played an important role in bringing peace between different Islamic nations in this part of the world. They were the one behind the peace agreement. They don't want anything to happen right now there. They're not interested in the high oil prices. It's against their way of thinking, and that's why they send the military ship into this region, stating that, come on guys, let's also our our zone of interest. We don't want this war to happen. But they will have Taiwan in a couple of months. And America right now is stretching itself. America right now is stretching between 3 regional conflicts. They were counting 2, Ukraine and Taiwan. But now they got Middle East that they didn't predict. And they don't know what to do with that. Because Biden cannot keep 3 things in his head at the same time. Neither Sullivan, no Blinken. It was awful experience to read this article of Sullivan. The guy is meaningless. 23 pages of nothing. He couldn't even predict what happened in the Middle East.
No, Vladimir, I don't disagree with you on anything. You're being very fair about your analysis. It's excellent. So what's the bad case scenarios? What are the good case scenarios?
Good case scenarios that Israelis will calculate that it is impossible right now to invade Gaza Strip. They just do not have enough forces, and they will calculate and find out some easy solution, like, okay, give us hostages, okay, we'll kill through bombarding a few important people in Hamas, and we'll play cool. We'll say that, okay, we destroyed whatever we could destroy, and that's fine. Bibi Netanyahu will be blamed for the attack of the 7th of October because he could not predict that, and he didn't save his people on this attack. And that's questions that have been asked, and Bibi Netanyahu is hated by America, so they will be more than happy to see them go. So that's one case scenario. And everything will be so now cooling down because for the election, upcoming election, it's no good for America to spend enormous amount of money, not to solve problems of the United States, but to support different Nazi regimes like Ukrainian outside of states. So not a good idea. The worst case scenario, uncontrolled war in the Middle East, that will lead to the Israelis being forced to use nuclear weapon, Iran retaliate, America will fight for Israel using whatever capabilities they have, China and Russia will say that that's not how we see it, China, or the worst scenario, that let's say in Syria, Russian forces are hit by Americans, and that's the end. 15 minutes and we have full-scale war. Full-scale nuclear war.
Well, that's an
The only
amazing...
one good thing is that there will be very free world after that, but free of humans. And that's the worst case scenario.
And I can't find any fault with your analysis. I mean, it's fair. It's across the board. It's crazy. But I look at the weird lawyers that run our country here, and most of them aren't even military, and they have had such success so long, they think they're invincible. And I don't think they understand that their chutzpah and their bravado and their hubris and their arrogance does not win this, because there's no way out of this unless we stop.
We have to stop, but look, Putin always keep the door open. He never used any, swear words against any political leader of the West. Biden, that's annoying. He's keeping insulting Putin. Putin never ever insult neither Trump, no Biden, no anyone else. But Nazi Canadian, I cannot use all the words. I was told that I cannot swear on the show. But this
You can swear, we can delay it out.
That been applauding old Ukrainian Nazi in the parliament, the head of Canadian parliament.
What do you make of the clear persecution of Trump, the attempt to put him in prison? He doesn't work for Russia, he works for America, that's clear. But what do Russians think about them trying to put Trump in prison?
Trump is not Russian lover. Trump is definitely not for Russia. Most part of sanctions that were implemented against Russia were under Trump. Trump fought for what he believed in, that is good for America. That was not good for Russia. That's why we just look at Trump. I think that he is smart. He's definitely extremely, extremely bright. He made his own fortune. He never paid from his own pocket, stating that he is the poorest ever congressman in the earth, and then paid $3 million in cash for his little beach house. He's a businessman. He made money, he spent money, not like Biden, who suddenly got $3 million, just, oh, by the way, I just found those guys. No, I just found $3 million. Oh, I don't know where from. I have little dementia. I don't remember where they came from. But it's okay. Can I get this nice little beach house, please? $3 million. Yeah, take on $3 million. Trump is Trump. Americans voted for him. We have to accept it. It's your president, not ours. What you do right now, you are just killing your justice system. Basically, you're opening the gate to hell because every president of the United States, as soon as he leaves his office, gonna be prosecuted and spend his days in jail after that. You're killing tradition of American democracy. You're prosecuting people, not on the basis of laws, but because some guys all the way up, or all the way down, if we're talking about the deep state, just hate him. And they want to, where's freedom of speech? And by the way, on the 6th of January, people in this, building, state building, that's a coup. But a few weeks after, I think that was a few weeks before, right? When there were 10,000 Jews stating that they're against the policy of Israel, they came to a similar type of building, and that's not the coup. It's okay. How come? That's crazy. And we look at your country, and we used to think that, well, at least justice system in the United States is immaculate, and democracy, whether we like it or not, it is immaculate, and the system works fine. No more. There's no justice system. There's no democracy. There's no freedom of speech. We cannot hear the voice of American people. What happened with your democracy? What happened with America? Someone hijacked America that we all loved. Where's the beacon of freedom? Where's the beacon of democracy? Where's the Christian country with great Christian tradition? What happened with it? I don't know, man. I just feel sorry, not for you. I feel sorry for all of us. We had this great legend of America. You ruined it. Not you personally, but those guys that are running your country nowadays. And they cannot even hear the voice of American people. They don't want to hear them. If they hear something that they don't like, they just cancel it. Cancel culture. Get them out. Wipe them off. That is not right.
Vladimir, thank you.
That is not what Americans used to fight for.
Vladimir, we're out of time. I want to invite you back again because whether you're Russian or American or South African or Mexican or Japanese, you deserve to hear open discussion. This is what big tech wants to shut down. I know I'll be attacked for doing it, but I'm glad I did it. We have 1 minute left. Closing comment. Thanks for the time.
Guys, humanity, human beings, they were created by God. God loves us. Let's not disappoint him.
I agree because we have this normalcy bias that we're all going to die. But John F. Kennedy knew to work with Khrushchev to stop nuclear war. We have to understand we have the tools to destroy ourselves, and we've never been closer to this right now.
Thank you so much, Alex, and thank you for all the listeners. I hope you won't be prosecuted for listening to me.
Well, they're definitely trying right now. Where's the best place for people to find your show to hear what you actually have to say?
Well, actually, it's on Telegram, Soloviev Live, but it's okay. Anyway, I'm pretty much sure that American authorities will do whatever they can not to allow Americans to hear my voice.
Oh, believe me, I'm sticking my head in the dragon's mouth doing this. All right, Vladimir, thank you so much, and be safe, and let's hopefully have world peace and not kill each other. God bless.
God bless. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That's Russia's #1 talk show host. That's the only reason I streamed tonight, was to stream that. It's a rerun. I've heard it a couple of times. And they're now the shining beacon of worship of God, Yahshua, on the planet. He just said it, and he's right. What happened to America? What happened to that shining light on a hill? What happened to it? We know what happened to it. The CIA, DARPA, NASA, NSA, the Pentagon, voting, all the different things that are happening in the food right now, the shots. Bill Gates is supposedly an American. Trees are bad. Come on. When are people going to wake up and see this? It's not that hard. It's really not that hard to see. But there are people that are just lost in golf balls and high grass. They just don't comprehend what's going on. They call it fake news. Yet right into the moment that the bombs hit and they're obliterated and they're gone and there's no food. Trucking industry being destroyed by this BS battery-powered EV vehicles. Never going to happen. It can't happen. There's no way it can happen. There's not enough lithium. They're opening a lithium mine up in Arkansas, probably the largest lithium, find in America. But it's still not enough. And China's fixing to take over Taiwan, which produces 90% of the world's electronic computer chips. 90% fixing to be given to China. And look, got people cutting the voice of America off. They don't want you to hear what's really going on. The fact that in the 1960s it all came out, Mockingbird Media, you can listen to all of them. They say the exact same thing. CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, CNN. They all say the exact same thing. It's called Mockingbird Media because they all say the same thing. They're paid off by the globalists through the CIA, DARPA. You know what's going on. You hear it, you see it. You watch the football today, and you can see all these insurance. Who wants to buy insurance from a reptile? I used to have that company. It's my insurer when I was in the military as a Marine. But man, when I finally woke up and it took Rush Limbaugh, G. Gordon Liddy, the G-Man show, it took these people all the way up through Glenn Beck and then Alex Jones for me to actually see what's going on. Now, I've listened to all of them. Now you got, Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson. You've got all these people that are telling you the truth, and they're all getting deleted. All of them, because the New World Order doesn't want you to hear it. Kissinger, an example of the New World Order. Kissinger. He was, supposedly helping presidents in the United States, but he was part of it. Adrenochrome. Chromebooks access the operating system Adrenochrome. How do you get adrenochrome? At the height of fear, pain, and death, a child is where you get it from. They're adrenochrome junkies. You've got people in Congress and in Senate that are drooling because they're so old. That one congresswoman was in a wheelchair and her daughter had power of attorney, and that woman is still supposedly casting votes with her daughter as the power of attorney? Can you not see how badly this country has been overrun? Yeah, they're going to blame solar flares, CMEs, coronal mass ejections on the upcoming grid down. They're right now bringing in the digital dollar. Europe went to it 2 weeks ago Friday. They're on the digital dollar now. Social credit score. Canada's, next. Canada's going to do it. When Canada does it, their little Cuban clone, Castro clone that's their prime minister. He's going to just enjoy it. He said he worships the ground, that Xi Jinping walks on. Yeah. And Biden, come on, give me a break. He's a bumbling, geriatric, mindless hunk of flesh. That's all he is. He's not running the country, can't even spell his own name. And he's given a speech that's, not coherent, and sees a little girl across the room. Oh, I think you have beautiful ears. What's your name, little girl? Give me a break. He can't help but, there's nobody that can tell him not to stop being a pedophile. He's doing it. He can't stop himself. You understand? His daughter's own diary says it. And that's his daughter's diary, where he showered with his little girl. The guy is a freak. He wasn't elected. We know that. The proof is out now. January 6th wasn't an insurrection. And we know that. The proof is out. You can see the videos yourself. It's out. All of this is out. It's truth. And there's a war on truth. Your hair is brown? No, it isn't. Your hair is green. Your hair is red? No, it isn't. Your hair is purple. Your hair is black. No, it isn't. Your hair is blonde. You can't speak the truth about anything. Some churches still have truth being taught and spoken. Some places in America that you can go right now, mostly constitutional carry states, and those states, that are going to separate from the federal government, which is something we can do, by the way. We don't have to pay taxes, by the way, but taxes are voluntary. That's in Congress. That's in the congressional record. You're going by a banker system. You don't even understand which constitution they operate under. Because the constitution they operate under isn't the same one you thought they were going by. Which it was the 1778 is what we're supposed to be going by. They're going by the 1781 Constitution. That's different than the 1778 Constitution. That's why they can violate your rights, because it's USA Inc. Incorporated. They bankrupt America. That's why you got a Social Security card, because they had to pay back this. Somehow they went bankrupt. That's how they got the Federal Reserve into America. And, the 7 countries that we were always, at odds with were the only 7 countries that didn't have a Federal Reserve Bank, did not have a World Bank in their countries. And they were our enemies. That was why they were our enemies. That's the only reason why they were our enemies. But you can cower down. You were fed by your parents when you were a baby the food of freedom, and yet you've left freedom. You've gone to these colleges, especially, Yale. You've gone to these colleges, the Ivy League colleges, and they have perverted your mind. That's what they have done. Right now, going to college is a waste of time, because they're mind controlling you in college. Never had problems with gay people before. Never had problems with transgender people before. I don't have problems with them now, except that they've got problems with me because I'm not. Now they're a problem. Can't say what you want to say freely. What happened to the freedom you was raised on? You want to be in a 15-minute city, living in a little, 12 by 12 room with a toilet, a sink? It's the same thing as a prison cell. You know, it's happening in New York right now. That Governor Hochul, that Rule 2.13, where they can take you anytime they want and put you in a FEMA camp and feed you whatever vaccine or drugs, experimental included, whenever they want. It's happening. Where did those people's rights go? Because the governor says something and makes a rule and goes against the Supreme Court? Yeah, that's happening right now. And it's coming to your state. It's coming to your state. Doesn't matter. You're fodder because you're not part of the club. Remember that movie, Armageddon, at the very end, you know, where they only had like 3 of these arcs, you know, and here you could see the water coming. They had 3 arcs, and had that Russian guy threw his child up on it, you know, at the last second, and he died, but his son lived. That club. There's less than 10,000 of these globalists in the world that are doing this to us, and there are billions of us, and only 10,000, well, I'll say 10,000 to 100,000 with their children and family members, against a billion. Just say 1 billion versus 100,000. We can't win against them because they got the money. It's the guards, you know, that keep them from being touched. It's their bodyguards. You know, you can't own a weapon, but they can. You're not part of the club. That's just the point. Which club are you going to be part of? The one that likes the way things used to be, where freedom reigned and we could do as we wanted, drive where we wanted, spend enough money to enjoy ourselves, have hobbies, join clubs? No, you can't. It's going to all be gone. You Rotary Club members that pay money into the UN, you're controlled by them. Lions Club controlled by them. Elks Club controlled by them. Masonic Lodges controlled by them. Yeah, all of those clubs that you see outside of a town on that big piece of 4x8 plywood that's painted, has got their logos on it. They're all part of the UN. Who do you think started those clubs? Yeah, that 10,000 that were against started those clubs. And we've got Soros district attorneys in states, in counties, in the biggest cities. Soros won't show his face in America, but yet you'll take his money. Turned in Jews, and he's supposed to be Jewish. Turned in Jews during the Holocaust. Where do you think I got all his money? When Germany went through Europe and took all the gold, all the artwork, all the land, and it all went to what neutral country? Switzerland. What has Switzerland got to do with it? That's where the headquarters for the UN are, and in the same building, the Church of Satan is in there. Bible says Antipas, where my servant Antipas was martyred, speaking about the seat of Satan and where he dwells on this earth. Where was Antipas given up as a martyr, lost his life as a martyr? Right there in Switzerland, where CERN is. What CERN is? Portals they're trying to open up, so when Satan gets cast into hell, he can walk right out. That's what they're trying to do, trying to bring in the demons that are already in hell, trying to find a way back for them in here, in the time and in the age we are in. You people don't realize what's coming and what's really happening. And if you do, and you think you're part of it, and you're listening to me, you're not part of the club. You're that bottom tier on the triangle that says you're just a worker bee to be sacrificed. They're going to use you until the sacrifice happens and you're part of the sacrifice. That's a fact. Jack, or Jill. This Sarge Marine, Father God, asks you to bless all those that listen to this with truth, a pure heart, and a desire for love, living, and freedom. In Yahshua's name, I pray to the mighty Jehovah Jireh, my provider. In his name,